Hi, I'm Steve Hargadown, and I want to invite you to join us for the first ever Tiny House Summit, February 20th to the 24th, all online. We have some great speakers like Andrew Odom. Clips of his presentation are coming up next. Each day of our 5-day event will have great free presentations for you to watch, with over 30 in total. Please do sign up to join us at tinyhousesummit.com. See you online.
Good afternoon. I'm Andrew Odom of Tiny Revolution and Tiny House NC, and I'm also your facilitator for Tiny House History 101. You caught me at a great time just standing out here on the porch of my micro tiny house, also known as the classroom. Today in the classroom, we're going to talk about Tiny House History 101. Now, truth be told, there really isn't a tiny house history. You can't just go to the bookstore and purchase a book titled Tiny House History. It doesn't really exist. But I thought it would be fascinating if we looked back through history and developed what we can call a tiny house history.
So at the turn of the 20th century, the average house size, which was a family of 4, was about 800 square feet. Now, while the interior space was a little bit cramped, most of the time was spent outdoors. The family spent time outdoors, especially in rural America. But in those, like I said, in those post-war years, those years ushered in kind of a mass exodus to more urban landscapes. And so we had to create these houses. So we saw a growth in the number of houses, but also a growth in the size of houses. So in post-World War II years, we saw houses grow to a whopping 1,000 square foot. And they helped redefine this notion of traditional housing. A home does not have to be everything to everyone all at once. There is that opportunity to grow, that opportunity to expand, to embellish, to enhance. And I think that's what's interesting about the difference between a house and a home, and what we derive from the Cape Cod movement is that we purchase something based on our needs at the time. Then as our needs shift, so does our home. All right, so let's take a second to recap. So we've got mobile, we've got hand-built, we've got central to the family, we've got earth-friendly. So we've got several tenets already that really do make a parallel to the modern tiny house movement. Throughout history, we have seen houses go from a need to a want to even more than a want. I'm not even sure what the word for more than a want is, but more about like houses represent who we want to be. So maybe houses are a lot like social media, like Facebook, if you will. It's not actually who we are, but who we want to project ourselves to be, who we want people to think that we are. So we build these houses that when someone drives by, they go, oh, wow, look at that house. Those people are rich, or those people must be so well off and have such great jobs and all this stuff. But never mind the position that those houses put us in. Never mind that, you know, as we've entered into the 21st century, the early part of the 21st century, never mind that those same houses are the very shackles that keep us chained via mortgages and loans that we can't afford, that we can't make payments on. So tiny house history really is, it's more about, well, it's more about human history than it is about houses, because the house is just, it's a physical manifestation of what's going on in here. By and large, we as individuals want to live in a house that historically represents who we are at that time in our lives. We're not always going to be the same person. I know in my particular case, we built our tiny house on wheels when it was just my wife and I, a married couple, 2 people. But then we had a baby and things changed. We had to transition in life. And so we sought out another home that didn't necessarily represent what we wanted in life, but it represented what we needed. It fit who we were at that time. It was a historical approach to who we were at that period in life. So that's tiny house history. We're making history right now. We're going to continue to make history because we're going to continue to evolve. We're going to continue to build things that we need, create homes that we need for our lives to feel enriching, for our lives to feel promising, and for us to look back on and say, that's who we were when. So I want to thank you for joining me today for Tiny House History 101. Again, I am your facilitator, Andrew Odom, and I thank you very much for joining me. And I look forward to having you in a future class. So thank you so much for being part of Tiny House Summit 2017. Hope you learn a lot and continue to learn and keep on making tiny house history.